Welcome to Gray Overload, and we got more news this week. And for this installment of Tony Tech Topics, let's go through some of that news. And Neilwind had this one, which is just annoying. Not that Neilwind had it, just annoying that Microsoft decides that they continue to want to push down the road of getting rid of any options or making it way more difficult to be able to get local accounts on setup. Now, for one, I think Microsoft should make this just have a standard option, local account or Microsoft account, not just force everything down the Microsoft account. While there is value to both, people should have a choice in this matter. I don't get why Microsoft keeps going down this. They could go down security. They could go down a whole bunch of areas. It's all going to be wrong. Well, the way Microsoft is right now is wrong a lot. And this is just another thing that the bypass NRO, I do have a video on that. I guess they're trying to make that not happen anymore with that workaround. Neilwind does have another workaround, which I'll have to try out and do another video on this as well. It's just annoying. Just make it easy for people to get a local account. I actually use local accounts quite often for different machines, and I like it that way. You know, they do not need to have a Microsoft account at all. So why should I put a Microsoft account on them? It's just another area of security risk. I know Microsoft's going to say the other way, but if I were to put on an account that's internet connected all the time, right, and reports back to Microsoft, that's another failure or another link in security that can be a failure. And if Microsoft can't see this, well, you know, they're going down the path of making their products harder and worse for the consumer. So, you know, that's the section that they're going down. So fine, so be it, Microsoft. That's your choice. Hopefully you'll turn around and make some good choices here in the future, but I'm not going to hold my breath over it. Let's jump over to some different news, a little bit more interesting, which is some Intel stuff. We're finally getting the Core Ultra 200, their special high-end HX processors. So we're getting those. Yay! Arrow Lake processors, we're finally getting something here. Video cards had some of that stuff, and you know, looking through, you know, some of the stuff that was done, you know, there's all of a sudden saying you can use the NPU for Game Assistant with Nvidia's Project G, or it's kind of similar to the Project G Assist, I should say. It doesn't use. It's, you know, this is AI development. We're finally getting some movement here with this, and who knows? I think that there's a cool avenue here. I just think that we're kind of jumping the gun a little bit, announcing all this stuff, and I personally would like to see them a little bit more further along with some of the development, especially with these NPUs and everything, so that when the games come out and we're having it, we're not wore out like we've been waiting forever, and it's just the hype is now worn off. I don't want that to happen because, well, I like playing games, and it takes a little bit to get back up there. But let's jump into some not so good news, which is the dreaded ASRock related Vcache, AMD Vcache CPUs and them dying. So I was on video cards, and a user has already reported a 9950X, you know, the top of the AMD line of their desktop CPUs, which now no longer boots. This is on a ASRock 870 board and using the latest BIOS. So yeah, the big thing is that it's been only 9 days of using it, and the CPU is dead. This is something you know, AMD does have to get a handle on it. You know, maybe there's some bad manufacturing. Tech Guest City had a live stream yesterday on a 5700X3D that he had a problem with. It happened to not break the board, which is a good. So, you know, there could be an issue with manufacturing having some bad CPUs throughout, but then there also could be the other side effect that there could be some bad boards causing this, or manufacturer bad BIOS, etc., that are having some problems. The manufacturers having problems with these boards, getting them out with a good quality control or whatever, and we're having some problems. So, you know, could be multiple issues, which is the fun part of all this, right? If you are a AMD or even ASRock with this, trying to pinpoint that is going to be difficult. I know ASRock did have something out this week that I was reading on WCCF Tech, and that was that ASRock has gone through and said, hey, you know what? The someone sent in their M5 9800X3D and their board, and they found that there was no damage to the socket after cleaning it. So that is one scenario, right? This isn't all of them. That's one scenario where there is a positive outcome that the board were still operational. It happened to be Tech Yes City when I was listening to him last night. Good live stream there. In he said the 5700X3D, he shipped that back, to where he bought it from. And then the motherboard, he said his brother was using, and it's still fine, which is a good sign overall. I like to see that the boards were able to handle it, and that's a good thing. I don't remember what board he was using though, so go check out his live stream last night. It's still, I think it's still up, and that would be there as well, so you'd be able to know exactly what happened. So, well, AMD's, so I use the G series processors in my little media center here at my house, right? And I'm always waiting for the next one because so far as I've wanted to just hold that PC just to be one PC that just sits there for a while. Happen to be I seem like I'm upgrading it every single time a new processor comes up. What do you know? I like to build PCs, so you're getting another PC build, right? But this is expected in Q4 2025. That's a rumor right now, and they're saying 9000G. We'll see what it actually is. AMD can't make their mind up for the numbers, so maybe it's the 10,000G. But the rumor is Zen 5 with RDNA 3.5. And I have an 8700G right now, works very well, does a really good job. And if they were able to bring something like that, the 9000G with Strix Point, that would be a nice little jump in performance, I think, to for something. I mean, what I really want is that to have some X3D on it. It'd be a really nice processor with a great jump in performance. But I think, this is a good jump in performance overall, and something I'd take a look at. Do an upgrade, do another build, because I do like building computers. Right? It's kind of fun doing that and keeping on top of things. But let's see what's next. I want to throw in some TSMC stuff. TSMC, through tariffs and everything else, and the CHIPS Act has been looking to put more facilities in the United States, specifically Arizona. And it seems like that they're no longer just being so, yeah, we're not going to do this. It's been like, okay, actually, you know what? We will start putting some more advanced nodes, in the United States. So it seems like they're more willing to put that commitment into Arizona and say, yeah, we'll have some of these cutting edge manufacturing stuff. So I like to see that, right? That's a good sign here that they're wanting to do that. I think the diversification out of just one region is a good idea. There's been natural disasters that can cause devastation. You don't want everything in one region, so that's I think there's progress there, right? Some of the money is from the CHIPS Act, and hopefully it lights Intel and gets Intel moving here. But as the Intel's next story of there can't the this was on WCCF Tech too, and this is just me thinking of what's gonna happen, right? It's disappointing to see, which is Battle Mage, their high end. I don't know how high end it is, but their high end GPU of Battle Mage is no longer. They decided to get rid of it. Well, fine, Intel, right? Intel's a new CEO, right? So we'll see where that goes and how much of the GPU is pushed, right? Then you also have AI, and to get there, their new CEO has said that it was going to take them a while to get there in AI, which, you're competing against Nvidia, and while there's others there in the AI market already that might have the jump on you as well with AMD, even Microsoft, Amazon. There's chip development at OpenAI. So where all these companies sitting and you're sitting, that could be proposed as some good headwinds. We'll see where they all go. I just want Intel to get back on their footing. And if, as much as I want more GPUs in the gaming market to be able to compete and have a good price to performance ratio in here and have enough graphics cards for supply, I do not think that that is the, in the short term that it'd be great in the short term, right? But I do not think that having the short term satisfaction is going to have a um, good competitive field in the long run right now. I think that we're so in such need of just devices that if Intel was like, yeah, I'm going to release this at the and suffer, having any profit out of this division, it could spell actually worse, where we're going to have no chance of Intel in the future. So that was the rumor there, and continue on that Intel rumors here. Is there Nova Lake? I guess it's not really rumors, that Intel did confirm it, right? Some of their Nova Lake stuff, and they want volume manufacturing on the 18A is going to be later this year. Nova Lake in 2026, and this is I hope that Intel keeps a progression, just gets on top of things, right? Have a consistent release, say you have a schedule, get that committed, and get committed to it and get that release so that we can have some great cadences of every release from Intel rather than delays from Intel, right? We've gotten so accustomed to the delays of what's coming either at their nodes or at their CPU side that you kind of think, okay, Intel, you announce this product that sounds good. One, will it actually be good? And will it be delayed where it doesn't matter anyways? And if Intel can get out of that and get Nova Lake and, just do these little, at least incremental stepping stones to get there, hopefully they can return to a competitive state right now, because right now Intel's an afterthought, which I never thought I'd say, but Intel's an afterthought, and if we get these and get these products out, that it'll be kind of fun and kind of cool to see. So we'll see there how this is all going and how Intel can really compete in the market, because I was listening to Moore's Law is Dead, and he was saying that AMD has an ARM CPU, or APU I should say, coming at some point. Hopefully it gets released. I think that'd be kind of fun. And if they can release that, let's say in a year or two, Nvidia has something that they already, we already know they have an ARM CPU with some GPUs. Nintendo uses it, and that could then, they got Project Digits, so that's been evolving here. Let's say that comes as well to a laptop, desktop in some form factor, and now you have Nvidia and AMD. I really don't want Intel sitting on the sidelines for that too, right? Not that they have to have an ARM chip, but they got to have a product that competes in those areas, or it's going to look like, well, if you can only compete on price and you have to undercut everybody but not make much money on it, and your margins are really low, that's not going to be good for your overall product or your success of your company anyway. So there's a lot of headwinds ahead, and we'll see where this all goes, but it is important that Intel get back on track. I really hope that they do. Now, Lisa Su, and we'll go switch over to AMD. Lisa Su is saying that Strix Halo is coming to the desktop. Now, what is that, or what does that mean when she says that's coming to desktop? Part of me thinks, yeah, you got the framework desktop. Is it in that form factor? I don't think it's going to be socketed unless they come out with a new desktop socket. I don't think it can fit in AM5. I have to remember I have to re-look up all the dimensions again. So what does that all mean? It is an interesting little idea. Maybe you have some manufacturers here that are going to ship with an ITX board or even a ATX board. I'm thinking small form factor in that little Strix Halo. You could do some really interesting stuff with it if they can do something like that, and people are buying it, and you can service it all except for exchanging the uh, CPU, well, GPU and memory, right? That's all on that one die with the Strix Halo product. You could, it could get interesting. We'll see, right, what this all means. But I want to put it out there because this is interesting because it does seem like it's more of a, while it is for somebody for gaming or whatever else, right? They're trying for that market. It does seem to perform really well in some AI applications, which makes it really attractive maybe for, if you can link them up and do some of the stuff Nvidia is doing with network links between them to gather, to create these machines a little bit bigger. I was on listening to GTC stuff, so that's why I'm, thinking of all this other stuff that you could do. If you link them all up and make like a little AI cluster that has enough to do some of the AI inference stuff that you want, that would be really kind of a productive machine, and maybe something a little bit cheaper than going, a lot of people like to compare the framework stuff with the Mac Mini. You have something there, and maybe it is cheaper than what Nvidia's counterpart's going to produce, and if you don't mind that, and it can produce everything you want with the speed you want, why then pay more for the Nvidia counterpart? So that's kind of something I've been thinking about there to see. So there's been rumors, other stuff with AMD side, some of the Zen 6 stuff, some of the what the APUs will have with Zen 6. Looks like RDNA 3.5. Moore's Law is Dead had a good video breaking that down. I'm not going to even think to summarize it all here because he went through. If you're into that rumor stuff, go check out Moore's Law is Dead. His latest AMD video was quite good overall, but this is what excites me about the market. If you're going to get some bigger, a little bit of core count here, you're getting some improvement there, and AMD is able to continue pushing it, even though you don't have somebody really pushing you on the CPU side. That's the exciting part. Now, the GPU side, AMD's got to really sit down and get down to brass tacks. This whole, unifying the architecture, I think, is a great plan, and getting all the engineers and developers for the products all on the same page, getting this AI stuff released out with a good cadence. I think that they can then start turning the Radeon division around a little bit, getting them moving in the right direction. But they really have to focus and get there. On the CPU side, though, they have to push themselves, especially where Intel was this generation, which was non-existent, in my opinion. They need to then keep pushing themselves, and if they can do that and keep giving us a great product, don't sit like Intel did. And if they do a nice little core count jump on the desktop, I think going to 32 or 24 cores, they don't have to go to 32. I think 24 is enough. Just a bump, right? Doesn't have to be huge. And with how small nodes are getting, you can probably go down to that instead of an 8 core, core complex. You could go to a 12 core complex, and it makes some sense. So hopefully we see some of that, and with all the AI stuff and the Strix Halo compared, and the AI benchmark and everything else, what you're capable of doing there. Just think of the next, comes after Strix Halo with a Zen 6 12-core complex, right? So, maybe UDNA, we'll see. That might be a little bit longer than Zen 6. We'll see what UDNA is. But if you can compete with some of these, there's reports out that some of the Strix Halo products are competing with the RTX 5080 in certain AI stuff, which AI benchmarks, which is pretty incredible. So if AMD can just keep pushing, I think that they have an opportunity here to keep going. So AMD's just been targeting over the EPYC stuff with the 5th gen EPYCs. They've been going after Granite Rapids and Nvidia's Grace CPU stuff, and trying to really make sure they're more power efficient. And it makes sense, right? They've been in there and trying to make their products continue to grow, and right now while you do have Xeons, a little bit server market's kind of a little bit slower and more entrenched, except for the AI stuff where they're going, and AMD wants to continue to push this. So one thing on the ASUS side of things is ASUS has been confirmed, has that. I haven't had an ASUS board in a while, but keep up with the technology. They have that Q Release system for getting out the PCI graphics card, which is becomes more difficult here. At least companies are working on an easier way to unlatch your graphics cards, but it was marking up and having some issues with scratching the graphics cards, and it looks like they have updated that to be plastic instead of metal. Okay, there you go. You fixed it. So uh, that is a good thing overall. I do like seeing that. And so let's end on some gaming news. I could talk about some of the Nvidia's 9700 XT. Looks like they've been selling a lot. The CEO is very impressed with that. The Nvidia has this AI stuff for G Assist in gaming, which is pretty interesting. Take a look at what is it, Vex? He had what is this? Who is it? Vex did a good job of getting some of that information out. I'm interested in Tomb Raider. I like playing Tomb Raider games. And Crystal Dynamics laid off 17 workers, which is, sad to see. They did say it's not going to change their current plans or um, any of the projects that they have, which is good. And it's redundant workforce, they said. So we'll see, right? I hope for the best of these, and hopefully those people that were laid off, they get back on their feet quickly. Now, a few other things here with games. GTA 6, when is that going to come out? If I was a game developer, I would I get it. GTA 6 could ruin my release, but I'm not going to try to predict where GTA is going to be delayed to, if it is delayed or not delayed. I'm going to try to stick to where I need to be, and if we need to make tweaks closer to release, we can tweak it. But there's a people are saying GTA 6 could be delayed. If it's delayed, right, that's going to mess up other things, and you kind of have to stick to your own schedule right now because we have no idea. And until it gets closer to when GTA 6 is going to be launched, we really don't know. And there's things that come out of where this will all sit. So that is one thing I wanted to keep in mind here, or just say. But Hogwarts Legacy, it looks like it's what is it? Their Defiant Edition is canceled by Warner Brothers, unfortunately. I saw this on WCCF Tech, and all these links here today and articles were, from WCCF Tech, video cards, NeoWind, unless I said something different. The what is it? The RTX Half-Life 2 RTX that was out here as well, and well, there's going to be one more Half-Life thing here in a little bit. My favorite thing, but I want to talk about The Witcher first, which is The Witcher, what, 4, 6, 4, right? Is not going to be won't be launched at all until 2027. So the CD Projekt Red was there with that, which I have not gotten the Witcher games yet, but it is one that I've played a little bit. Was interested in some of these news. Again, right? You have GTA 6 delayed. You have this not being there. This is why I'm so pushy on Microsoft, because I really want to see the end, or more games, not the end, but the end of just all these delays and getting more games out on time, or more games out, period, right? And sometimes these delays make sense, right? I'm not saying throw out a bad game, because then you're going to get hit on the bad PR about having not having everything ironed out. And CD Projekt Red probably knows that pretty well with Cyberpunk 2077. So yeah, don't do that. And let's end on a fun rumor, I would say. If you're a Half-Life fan, like me, or just really enjoy playing Half-Life, you've probably been waiting for Half-Life 3 for way too long, which is the case here. So Half-Life 3 may be getting close to release, or it may not be Half-Life 3 at all. So there is some news, and I saw this from HLX News, and they've been following it a while, and this is this is one thing I wish would happen. I really do. I really like Half-Life. I think you could do some really cool stuff now with all the graphics. It'd be really kind of fun. But who knows, right? It could be something. We could have a conclusion to the Gordon Freeman story. We could get more about another pathway to Gordon Freeman. Or heck, maybe they say, well, let's do a couple more. But hopefully it's not another 3 or another, couple episodes, because we'll know where that goes. We'll be waiting for that for a while. But I still go back and play the Half-Life games. I really enjoy them. So I want to end on that. But thank you so much on this week's Tony Tech Topics. We get through some of the news, talk about it. Let me know if you have any news or anything you found interesting this week, and maybe we'll cover it next week. But this is pretty interesting, some of the stuff here. Good competition and everything else. Hopefully it'll come there. But, a lot of the stuff is fun, and I love the tech industry. It's really fun to watch. Hopefully we'll get there. Hopefully we'll get some more games, and we'll get more hardware, right? That's always the fun part. With that, thank you so much for watching and supporting Gray Overload. Helps this channel grow. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell icon, as it really does help with the channel. So does watching another one of my videos. And until next time, God bless.